case briefs, and so much more. LSData's got what you're looking for.
In 1963, the Supreme Court of the United States was embroiled in an intriguing murder case known as Townsend v. Sain, centered on the critical and familiar question of the admissibility of a murder confession. The confession at the heart of the dispute was that of Charles Townsend, who stood accused of murder and who disputed the validity of his own confession, arguing that it had been coerced through drug use. The case brought into sharp focus the principle that in order to use a confession as evidence, it must be freely given, non-coerced, and its voluntariness confirmed through appropriate protocols. Townsend had contested the use of his drug-tainted confession, declaring it involuntary and therefore inadmissible. His claim had been dismissed by the trial judge, and his confession was subsequently used as evidence in his murder trial. Convicted by a jury, Townsend was sentenced to death, a punishment that was upheld by the Supreme Court of Illinois. However, when Townsend appealed his conviction based on the potentially coerced confession, the U.S. Supreme Court took interest, scrutinizing the lower court's handling of federal habeas corpus hearings, a legal mechanism to challenge unlawful detention. The appeal touched on a broader question about the role and duties of federal courts in confirming that state court fact findings are justified by substantive evidence. Finally, the Supreme Court ruled that the lower court had not adequately investigated Townsend's claim of drug-induced coercion before deciding on the admissibility of his confession. They remanded for a fresh hearing to examine this critical issue further. Both the state and Townsend were granted the opportunity to present any other evidence supportive of their respective positions. The goal was to ensure that the principle of constitutional rights was upheld and that the hearings conducted by the lower court met established standards of fairness and fact-based inquiry.
Case briefs, and so much more. LSData's got what you're looking for. Visit lsd.law, elevate your mind. Leave the stress of class.